The Big C Church is awkward. We are humans trying to be the hands of Jesus to this broken world. As a church, we do some things very, very well. We do some things badly. Legend has it that Napoleon Bonaparte had an argument with the cardinal. Napoleon declared that he had the power to destroy the church. The cardinal replied, "Your Majesty, we the clergy have done our best to destroy the church for the last 1800 years. We have not succeeded, and neither will you." True that, right? The Big C Church is still here being the hand of Jesus to this broken world. We're still doing some things very, very well. We're still doing some things badly. Now, the first church was full of those believers left behind when Jesus ascended into heaven. Many of their leaders knew Jesus personally. The rest knew someone who knew Jesus. Because they were the first generation with Jesus, because there's a book in the Bible about them called the Book of Acts, because of these beautiful verses in Acts 4:32-37, this first church often gets elevated to being what the ideal church should look like. Those beautiful verses are Acts 4:32-37, and they read, "All the believers were united in heart and mind, and they felt what they owned was not their own, so they shared everything they had. The apostles testified powerfully to the resurrection of the Lord Jesus, and God's great blessing was upon them all. There were no needy people among them, because those who owned land or houses would sell them and bring the money to the apostles to be given to those in need. For instance, there was Joseph, the one of the apostles nicknamed Barnabas, which means son of encouragement. He was from the tribe of Levi and came from the island of Cyprus. He sold a field he owned, and he brought the money to the apostles." We're going to read a lot about Barnabas in our series. If you read the whole book of Acts, this new church right here is so not true, because there's story after story of people trying to figure things out. Sometimes well, but more often awkwardly. Even here, immediately following those beautiful idyllic verses at the end of Acts 4, we get the first church scandal, which of course is over money. Literally, Acts 5:1-2 says, "But there was a certain man named Ananias who, with his wife Sapphira, sold some property. He brought part of the money to the apostles, claiming it was the full amount. With his wife's consent, he kept the rest." And if you know the story, Ananias and Sapphira lied to the new apostles about this, turn around to exit the meeting, and drop dead. I guess grace was too new at this point, because if you lie in this church, you won't drop dead. So the new church from the book of Acts dealt with such issues as law and grace, ecclesial issues, race issues, and the question was, Jesus God and man, or 50-50, or all God, so the body is bad? You know, questions we still struggle with today. We as a small group from our church did one of our All Questions Bible studies using the book of Acts. We read these stories and came with our questions only. We compiled lots of questions. I was regularly asked, why did I pick these stories? Because they were so complicated. But we now can't unsee the awkward and the mistakes, and they had no idea what they were doing. I'm using those questions as my outline for this teaching series. Be ready for some never had that thought before conversations. We start this series January 20th. Will you join us in these conversations? I'm Pastor Brenda. I'll be leading these conversations, and I hope you will join us.